Something I lived through, so I guess I have to take it home. It is great to come here and talk to people about what's going on in the city of Fall River, and I want to thank Mike and the Chamber for having me here this morning. What's going on in Fall River right now is really, really remarkable. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, and I see the changes across the board. In all sections of the city, things are moving at a really, really rapid pace, and we try to keep an eye on everything. But it does keep us busy. And being mayor of the city is just a tremendous privilege for me to serve the residents of Fall River. I wasn't one of these people that aspired to go this way. It just kind of happened because I did not like the direction of government in the city of Fall River. And believe it or not, that is the 100% truth. I always say if there was somebody that was honorable and working strictly for the residents of the city, I probably wouldn't have even gotten into it. I liked it on the school committee, but at the same time, what the city of Fall River was going through, they did not deserve. We didn't deserve what happened to us. We didn't deserve being in the limelight with that kind of negative press, and that was really my focus going forward. I just don't want to be putting the residents of the city in that position. And that's why when a lot of the things you see us doing, we try to do just for the residents, to make the city a better place to live. I really don't need anything in my life. I'm in a very good position, and I've been very, very blessed. And when I look around the room now, I see relatives, I see friends that I've known for 20 or 30 years, and that's the way I operate, even as a mayor. I want people that are my friends, but I also want people that'll tell me when I'm doing something wrong, and I want people that put Fall River first, and that's what we're going to talk about today. It's funny because I was driving here, and Kenny came by yesterday to talk about economic developments and things, and we were talking about Chick-fil-A going into South Coast Plaza and Chipotle going across the street, and I'm coming up by Henry Lord, and there's the new access road because we're trying to address a traffic problem at that school because it's one way in, one way out, so we're going to have a secondary means of egress. If you get a chance, go by Talbot Middle School. For years, that parking lot looked like the testing facility at a Baghdad airport, and now it's really coming along beautifully. It's something to see, and it's all these little pieces that are coming together, whether it's streets, infrastructure, and we're going to move this city along to the best of my ability for as long as you'll have me as mayor, and we'll work together to make it a better place. But let's talk about a few of the things, the points I do want to hit on. I hope I'm not too long-winded. Let's look at Route 79. 20 years of conversation on that issue. 20 years of conversation. Now I'm working with Baker and Polito and our legislative delegation. We've been able to secure $100 million in funding to eliminate that elevated roadway. And if you got to see those pictures at Heritage Park that day, it really looks like something to see. This will improve access to our waterfront, create a new water boulevard which will be able to accommodate 1.1 million square feet of market rate housing, retail, offices, and restaurants. This project is expected to bring in over $1 billion into a new investment into Fall River, and it's going to change the way our waterfront looks all the way down it. I mean, when you go from Commonwealth down to the bridge, we're going to have a nice recreational, retail, restaurant zone there where people can walk, park, get on the train. It's really going to be something. And speaking of the train, commuter rail, again, we have a tremendous partnership with the Baker Polito administration. They're Republicans, I'm a Democrat, but that's washed away because they come to help the people in Fall River, and I like the way they carry themselves, and I like what they do for us. And on commuter rail, they've been able to get the legislative delegation, and they accelerated the construction on the South Coast Commuter Rail project, including our platform on the corner of Duval and Pierce Streets. The 2023 commuter rail start date will allow the rail platform to become the centerpiece of that waterfront redevelopment area. As we take down 79, they'll be looking right out towards the water, and it's really going to be something that the city can be proud of. Staying on the waterfront, let's look at our city pier. With the support of our state delegation and our grant writer, the city obtained another $1 million from the Seaport Council grant, pairing that with the investment of $1.5 million from our own Fall River Redevelopment Authority. Construction is now going on, drive by, you'll see it, on the city pier to make it suitable for public use for the first time in decades. Our goal is to open up this waterfront amenity to the public, to expand the boardwalk. We'd like to use it for food truck festivals, art exhibits, waterfront concerts, beer gardens, and other events. And again, this is like the first phase. Our hope is to bring in docks similar to what you see at the Cove, so that people can tie up a boat there, take a walk, go get a bite to eat. It's gonna really expand it, and we may even be able to put a marina in there, not too long. So just be patient with us, but it's really making progress quickly, and it's gonna be a real focal point to the city. Let's look at what we're doing with Liberty Gas. Literally, that was an off-the-cuff conversation I had with Jim Kerry that started the ball rolling on that. I know there had been things in the background, but when Homeland Builders left the industrial park, we were able to get Liberty Gas interested in that site. And they're gonna take their operations on the waterfront and move them up to the industrial park. This will free up the land on Anawan Street, which will then go over to the Fall River Redevelopment Authority. They can take that whole waterfront piece, which goes right around our Marine Museum, and utilize it for additional parking and redevelopment. The property has a lot of exciting potential, and we wanted to lock it up. As the waterfront expands, if we can get some property in there, I think that's what we need to do to make it more accessible for everybody. Another project, this was something that came to me one day when I was down at the Narrows with Pat Norton. We're looking to move our salt sheds, which are under the Braga Bridge. It might not sound like a big project, but with the increased investments in the waterfront, we need parking, and it's a constant issue down there. My administration, working along with our new Congressman, Jake Auchincloss, we were able to secure a $1.5 million grant from the EDA to relocate the salt sheds from Water Street to Brayton Avenue. Now, the Brayton Avenue site, what we're looking at, is the old Sam's Club. We need an acre of land there to put these salt sheds. It's easy access on and off the highways. The state loves the spot. We just need an acre of land. If you remember, Sam's Club was designed for retail. They don't need, all those parking spots for manufacturing. So we take that corner. The guys working the snowstorms that have to take the salt and grab a coffee at McDonald's or at the new Cumberland Farms on the avenue and get right on the highway. They're not passing any houses. They won't interfere with the neighborhoods. It's a win-win situation. And under the Braga Bridge, we'll be able to free up 200 flat parking spots. I think that was the number we talked about. At the same time, we'd like to put like a pedestrian walkway extending Pond Street up between the two mills with some period lighting and one of those plastic walkovers to go over the railroad tracks, so that the people that want to go to the Liberty property, the Narrows, Troy City Brewery, will have a natural flow and will generate some traffic down there. It's really a nice little project. It's not something that's wild construction, but it's something that'll make the city a much better place to live. US Bedding, a good friend of ours, David, was going to move to South Carolina or even Rhode Island. Working with Dave, we were able to facilitate the sale of the old Sam's Club to David, where he's now relocating his operations for US Bedding. It's another 100 manufacturing jobs, and it's also another company he's brought in there to rent space off him in Sam's Club, which have more job growth potential. Just taking him off of Quikasham Street will free up that mill. They're renting some space to some other people, and it's another one of our mills in Fall River that's being rehabilitated or reused for other purposes. It's a very important piece of our whole economic development, are these old mills that are being rehabbed, renovated. We have a number of them, and it really is something to see. Across from Cuss Middle School, we have another one going. I was talking to Kenny, I believe we have Alden Street, one of the last big mills on that strip being sold, which will tie in with the Cornell lofts and going up to the Curtin lofts. It's really going to become a nice strip down in the Flint, a different section of the city. Our industrial park, take a ride out there. Take a ride out there. Just take a loop around. Some of the roads are closed, but you can still do it. Our industrial and technology park in the north end is almost at capacity, which symbolizes Fall River's strong status as a well-rounded hub for industry in the South Coast. On Current Road, we have a new tenant, Indigen, who is the third largest Indian pharmaceutical corporation And they're in the process of looking for 50 people to bring in for new jobs with the potential to expand even further. Raw Seafoods is expanding further up the road towards Amazon. And it's a huge project they're putting in there, which will be another 20 to 35 jobs. And again, last week or the week before, I get to tour Amazon again. The technology in that building is literally breathtaking. You feel like you're in a sci-fi movie when you walk through there. It's so big. I told Mark we'd get him up there to take a walk around. It's a huge complex. We'd like to see if they can partner up with some more of our local industries or our local schools, and we're going to work on something like that. And another truly exciting event, or company that's coming to Fall River, I should say, is Mayflower Wind. Mayflower Wind recently announced that they're planning to build an operation and maintenance base right on our waterfront on 15 acres. It'll bring hundreds of well-paying jobs as well as new education and technology to Fall River. This new development is the next chapter in the long life of the Borden-Remington complex. When we were kids, it was Firestone. That's where the tires were made. It's been an ironworks complex. It's an important economic engine. It was Tilson, and then of course before that it was Firestone. And it's always been a big industrial piece right on the waterfront that's now going to be coming up with another corporation, Mayflower Wind, to locate there. Mayflower Wind will provide an anchor for future offshore wind development along our waterfront and throughout the city. It's an obvious partner for this kind of operation and maintenance facility would be any high-tech startups, any new technology, perhaps housing one of their former mill buildings on their complex down there, which is huge. It is notable that Mayflower's O&M strategy leans towards the regional vision that's the house that is the basis for the One South Coast Chamber and their shared economic development that will lift up this whole region. While Mayflower's port will sit on the Fall River waterfront and provide a home to a large supply vessel when it comes in every couple of weeks, they will be running their daily supply and crew boats from New Bedford waterfront. The kind of teamwork that will allow our cities to go further and do more together. So we're going to look to get our share of the wind development. New Bedford's going to get their share, and this is just the first contract. We're hoping we have more footing for the next ones going forward. Things we didn't talk about a little bit at the beginning is some additional restaurants coming to the city, whether it's Chipotle or Chick-fil-A. I've never eaten at Chick-fil-A, but everybody raves about it, and there's always a line, so that's a good thing. I don't know what that's going to do for parking in South Coast Marketplace, but we'll get there. We'll talk briefly about downtown. Another exciting new development is the Bank Street Armory. We're trying to get that renovated into a convention center or a small arts center. Yesterday I was fortunate enough to tour the old BCC, I call it. It's across the street from the Bank Street Armory, and look at what Alan McGovern's done in there with those buildings. I have some pictures. The apartments are absolutely gorgeous. It's amazing. He has 11 artist lofts. Some of them have a rent subsidy tied to them, but there's 11 artist lofts he's building in that complex along with the other regular units. The first week he put it out there, he had over 200 people interested in 11 units. And that's in Fall River. That's the kind of draw. And even like when we was talking about the Adams House and these others, half of the people in those apartments are from out of town. So that's new money coming into the city for gas, restaurants, services. That's what we need to do. Working with the Fall River City Council and the Fall River Redevelopment Authority, we spearheaded the transfer of the Bank Street Armory to the Redevelopment Authority, who arranged for the sale of the armory, hopefully to the gentleman that owns Pawtucket Armory, and they'll turn it into an arts and events center. We're waiting on to get back to P&S right now, and it's a very big piece of downtown. We'll have that whole strip going up from the old BCC to like Tequila Line or up there, so we'll have a little bit of a corridor going. This continues the positive response we've gotten from past investments in our arts and culture scene. We recently worked with Viva Fall River and the Fall River Arts and Cultural Coalition to bring a bi-weekly farmers market to Old 2nd Street. Slowly, since COVID activities have returned to downtown, our waterfront, and our city parks. This summer we had a tremendous Arts in the Park program. We focused on the second what I call the secondary parks. Our big parks are Kennedy, North, Lafayette. We tried to go to the smaller ones, Ruggles, Pulaski, and bring a neighborhood feel to it. And I was highly, highly skeptical when they told me they were going to put a jazz band in Pulaski Park or Griffin Park, which is in the heart of the Corky Road, and people were going to come out. They came out in droves. We had hamburgers, you heard a couple of them, Mike. We had hamburgers, hot dogs. People did paintings with spray cans. We had a spray can artist come in. He'd bring 200 cans of spray paint, set up a canvas, give everybody a small canvas to work on, and open up the spray cans for them. And those kids went to town. It really was something to see. I was like, wow, this is really working. But it's because we went to different parks. We didn't stay with just the big ones, and I think that next year we're going to try to expand it to more. And then another trend we're seeing across the city is widespread investment in market rate housing. We're in the middle of a building boom, and that includes construction and rehabilitation of Fall River's beautiful historic buildings. Over 4,197 building permits have been issued since January of 2020. Now, some of those could be for a deck or a porch, but a lot of it is for new construction and homes and stuff. And it's brought into the city an additional $1.1 million in revenue. Downtown, the Garment Workers Union building right across from Government Center is soon to be rehabilitated, as I said about the old BCC. And the police station, we do have some rudimentary steps being taken to get that asbestos free, so that hopefully can also become renovated. And it turned into apartments and housing for downtown. And similar revitalizations are happening in mills and buildings, as I said earlier, across the city. We worked with private development companies to rehabilitate the Adams House and to transform it into a beautiful market rate building. If you drive by that building at night, it really, really looks impressive. There's just so many things. River's Edge on Duval Street. First day they opened up, I talked to Melissa Pantry, they rented 4 apartments, and some of them were the top floors, which are very expensive, but they went right away. Again, a good sign that people are not afraid to invest in Fall River. And we'll talk a little bit about small businesses. I think I'm almost done. I'm sorry if I'm boring, guys. Despite the crippling efforts of the pandemic on small businesses, the city helped provide $1.3 million in grants and low-interest loans to more than 20 small businesses, which allowed them to retain and create some jobs for us. We're also welcoming an exciting 4th-generation owned business back to Fall River, chocolatier Dorothy Cox. She'll be opening up at the old Save-A-Lot right on Griffin Street, right off Globe Four Corners. Again, more jobs coming to the city. And then, of course, the biggest issue we have in the city of Fall River is our ARPA funds. Of course, we are in a unique situation right now as we plan for the use of our ARPA money going forward. We're anticipating some funding also from the state and federal and county monies for infrastructure, and there's also bills in the works to help us in other areas. We have an unprecedented chance to make lives better for everybody in the city, business owners, entrepreneurs, and we look forward to working with them. The money we got from ARPA came at a tremendous price, though. I want people to understand that. They seem to think that this fell in out of the sky. We probably had close to 15,000 residents sick from COVID. We lost almost 400 people, and the federal government, with their formula, decided to give us, I think, close to $70 million, and the schools close to $60 million. And it's kind of frustrating to me as a mayor of the city that I don't know of a time when Fall River has been sitting on this amount of money to make the city a better place to live. And there's so much infighting going on with different elected bodies that it's really it's like a downer on the city. It's not a downer on me, because I know exactly where we're going. We're going to use that money to strengthen curriculum and education across the schools and build our after-school programs. We're going to use that money to make the city a better place to live, and we're going to fix our streets, we're going to fix our water lines, and we're going to do whatever we are allowed to do in that bill to make Fall River a better place to live. I fully expect to have a list of streets going forward. We've tackled a ton this year with Dwelly, Stafford Road, Alfred Street next to Maplewood Park. If you went down that street Most of the time, at the end of the street, they gave you a $20 bill because you survived the ride. It was dangerous. But we're gonna fix streets, we're gonna make the city more attractive, and we're gonna do some extra cleaning coming up very shortly. And again, I appreciate you guys all listening to me and giving me the opportunity to talk. And thanks for coming out this morning. It's 8:30, so I know some of you are missing a little bit of work for this, but being here today is great for me, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to address all of you, and thank you for listening.
Mayor, I was going to ask a question, but really wasn't a question. It's actually a comment. Having viewed Fall River from all the way over in New Bedford for many years, and knowing the business community as well as we do, the business community abhors chaos. They can survive a tremendous amount of policy differences, but I want to thank you and congratulate you for bringing calm, order, stability to your office. Thank you. Obviously, we want to echo thank you all for coming out this morning. Thank you, Mayor Coogan, for taking the time to address the business community. We are at One South Coast Chamber committed to this region and committed to its economic success. So thanks again to our sponsors, St. X Credit Union, South Coast Health, Bay Coast Bank, Bristol County Savings Bank, and have a wonderful, wonderful, prosperous day.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Company.